Hey everybody, Sharon here from VidGamiac.com. Welcome to part 2 of our guide of Esports Life Tycoon. We are going for the Survival achievement. This is going to be the one and only achievement that you cannot unlock using the dev menu, so if you are coming back from that part of the guide, this is going to be how you get the last achievement. So whenever you're ready to go for it, which one you want to make sure you back out to the main menu, then you want to make sure you go over to New Game. You are going to then want to go down to Challenges, which is going to be the second thing on the list. This final achievement is going to require that you play the last challenge on the list, which is going to be this one called Survival. Thankfully, it's not the hardest challenge on the list, only a 2.5-star difficulty. Your goal is to get through an entire season, avoiding relegation. In other words, you need to make it to the end of a season, placing top 9 on the final leaderboard. So make sure you start that up. If you are new to the game, this is going to be the basic rundown. You can click in the right stick to speed things up, as normal Tycoon games allow you to. You're going to bring up your commands by holding the left bumper, and then you can select whatever one with the right stick. You're going to want to pick the top one, which is to analyze your rival. This is going to be the first and foremost thing you want to do during every single day cycle. So make sure you do that until the task gets completed. Then we're going to turn our attention over to tactics, and then we're just going to dump the rest of the day into this. You basically want to keep the strategy up until you start the first game. The thing you want to pay attention to is going to be the victory expectations in the upper right. You're going to want to have that say easy match. That's going to pretty much guarantee you a win most of the time. Bare minimum, you can get by with an even match, but for the most part, you want to try to get that to say easy match. And of course, the best way to do that is to just make sure you dump all of your time first into analyzing your rival and then the rest of it into tactics. Don't worry about the other stats. Since we're only playing one season, we don't really have to worry about morale or anything. We just need to make sure we try to max out our basic stats that are going to give us the most leverage during the actual games. Since our goal is to just make it to the end of this season placing top 9, nothing carrying over to a further season is going to be required. So just make sure you keep idling that tactics bar until time is up where you need to actually play your first game. Unfortunately, you can't turn the speed faster than 2 times, so be a little patient with it. But nonetheless, once it's time to actually start the first match, you are going to get this screen right here. Now, if you are just here for the achievement and can't be bothered to actually play the game, what you can do is you can pick Resolve Match, and that will skip any of the actual gameplay parts. So make sure you do that, and then hit A to confirm. And then what's going to happen is the game is going to auto-generate the battle, which is going to be based on our stats. Since we dumped everything into analysis and tactics, we should be pretty much guaranteed a win based on our victory conditions as long as they were easy, and that should put you pretty high up onto the rankings. So, start of day 2. Now that we have some cash in hand, we are going to buy some upgrades. So make sure you go to the bottom row of tools right here. You want to make sure you click on rooms, and then we're going to go to the one and only room we are pretty much using, which is going to be the tactics room. So make sure you right bumper over to upgrades, and then make sure you go over to tactics room, and make sure you buy the first 2 upgrades. You don't need much more than that, as it is going to be a huge money sink. So I'm just going to recommend that you buy the first 2 upgrades, as we don't want to end up in bankruptcy too early on. You should be able to get through the entirety of the season with just the first 2 upgrades. So once you have those 2 out of the way, just continue your strategy. Make sure you analyze rival first, and then make sure you dump the rest of the day into tactics. And this is basically going to be how the rest of the game is going to play out for all 11 matches. Now, obviously, it is going to be a Tycoon game, so there are going to be some random things that pop up from time to time. You may or may not want to take care of them. Generally speaking, the things you want to make sure you take care of are going to be the sponsor events. Make sure you always accept those, as you are going to need the money, as that's going to be the thing that's going to be keeping you out of bankruptcy. Don't worry too much about disgruntled players. Again, you don't really have to worry about renewing their contracts for a further season, since we're only playing the one and only season. You want to make sure you take any player meetings if those pop up, so make sure you take care of those as soon as they are available to you. And then for the most part, you should be pretty good just keeping up on this strategy, just doing the 2 main tasks during the actual pre-game. Then for the actual game, hopefully you are able to earn enough points to make it an easy match, and then hopefully the auto battler is going to always swing in your favor. You don't necessarily have to win every single match. However, the strategy is going to set you up with some really good stats in order to win every single match. So just make sure you try to keep up at it, and then hopefully you can place in the top 9. The only real thing you need to work on avoiding is trying to not end up in bankruptcy. And the best way to do that is to obviously not spend your money on anything frivolous and to make sure you're taking up those sponsor events whenever they do pop up. For any of the other random miscellaneous events that may or may not pop up, you should be pretty good to figure them out on your own, as they are going to be random, and then hopefully they don't have too much of an adverse effect on your actual run. So just make sure you try to figure those out the best you can. Once you get late into the run, you're going to have rooms start to break down. You definitely want to take care of these as you were a player meeting. So as soon as they pop up, make sure you repair those rooms, as not having a room available is going to affect whatever stats that they relate to. So make sure you take care of that. Just pay attention to your notifications in the bottom left, and you should have a good grasp on how the team is going. So if you ever do get an out of order notification, make sure you drop everything you are doing and then make sure you take the time to repair that room. Since we didn't spend any of our money on anything too frivolous, we should have a nice nest egg to take care of these random occurrences, and hopefully too many of these don't pop up for you. You might get maybe 1, 2, or 3, depending on your luck, but nonetheless, just make sure you keep up on this, and then we should be able to make it to the end. Now, the late season matches are going to get a little tough, so make sure you try to bear it out. If you are swimming in cash, feel free to get that third upgrade to the tactics room, but it is going to be a costly one that might put you in the red, so be a little careful with that. But you should be able to make it with just 2 upgrades, in all honesty. So just make sure you keep going and then play all 11 matches of the season, and then hopefully you do end up at least in the top 9. Personally, for me, we ended up taking first place, but again, the game is going to be random somewhat. But this is going to be the best strategy to get through the challenge without too much trouble. So here we are on the last game in the finals, and then we're going to take home the win using the auto battler. And then once we take care of this, we're going to get our end season rankings. Again, you want to make sure you try to aim for any spot in the top 9. And then as soon as you secure your position and then complete the challenge, you should be good for the achievement once we hit the results screen. There we go, 10-1 this season. There's going to be our challenge complete, and then with that, the achievement should unlock. 40 gamer score for this one, and if you are coming back from using the dev menu, that should be your last achievement, and the 1000 gamer score and the completion. Hope you enjoyed the guide, and that's all there is to it.